Dear Lord, in the name. Hello, welcome back to our WIN Community Roundtable. I'm just so excited to have you all here. My name is Allegra Jackson. I am the founder and CEO of Women into Networking WIN. I have Miss Ernest Cummings, who is major here in the community. She's a corporate partner. She's a huge supporter, a trailblazer for our conference. Always showing up. Y'all see her everywhere. So welcome to this amazing space. Hopefully some of our other leaders and maybe some members will be able to join, but we don't know. We'll see them later. But I do want to talk to y'all today about some community conversations that we've been having in our clubhouse rooms and some of our WIN spaces about building healthy relationships in community and what that looks like. And also some of the challenges. Like, there are so many things that happen as you grow in community. We have to be very aware that these things are going to happen. And even if you don't experience it, it's really good to just be knowledgeable, right? And so we do that here in this space. We share all of our vulnerabilities here. We talk about the ups, the downs. We give you, really honestly, we give you ourselves. So tune in, share with your friends, let everyone know we're here. I'm going to let Miss Ernest introduce herself so you can get to know her a little bit more, and then we will get into this beautiful conversation. So Miss Ernest, I'll pass it over to you.
Hi, everyone. I am Arnice Cummings. I am the founder and CEO of Secret Miracles, Inc. I am also a corporate partner with the Women in Networking community. I am a SCORE mentor, and I have a real estate company.
Listen, my whole thing was lagging on my mic side. Sorry, I couldn't unmute quick enough. Miss Ernest is absolutely amazing because when you put all those things together, and I've seen you grow within community, I want to talk to you about all of that, right? And I want to go a little bit towards the beginning because, before I started this community and before I started a business, I really don't think I had the best relationships all the time. I had good relationships, but I didn't really invest like I needed to, right? And one of the biggest things for me, and I just wanted to start with this story of, I realized this not because I just had an aha moment one day. I realized it when I was in school, when I went to college, and I started to have to be in places and spaces where people were thinking differently. They were doing more than I was doing, right? These were educated people, they were professionals with businesses, and they were making money. And I was sitting in rooms with them, just really trying to understand the world that I wanted to, put myself into, right? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? That's what you do in school. And while I was trying to figure that all out, it was ridiculously frightening, some of the things I was experiencing when I would be in rooms with all these people I thought were just like giants to me. They were just like giants. And for me, looking back, no, they weren't giants. Like, they were just people like you and I. They were working their businesses. They were, doing their service, right? They were committed to what they were doing. So their passion and some of the things that they were doing looked very big and very scary for me. So when it came down to having really conversations with people like that, I would shy away, and I would just not really have conversations with people that I just felt like, okay, well, I don't think I would have anything in common with them. They probably would look at me and be like, oh, you're so young, you don't know what you're talking about, right? So I had these thoughts. And it wasn't until I got a mentor where I started to realize that I had to be in those uncomfortable spaces, and realize that the reason why I wasn't able to build those relationships with those individuals was because there were things inside of me. I was like, okay, they're going to see me. They're going to see that flaw. And I realized that. And so over time, I had to just identify, this is what I'm experiencing when I'm around people. And if I'm a little nervous, if I feel uncomfortable, then, say that. And so as I grew with guidance, I realized over time that I was going to feel uncomfortable as I grew, even if it was in community, in my jobs, and in my business, whatever it is, I just understood that there would be still um, discomfort and just that pain through growth. And so that's one experience that comes to mind. And I just want to start there and see what you think about that, and if you have anything similar that you want to share.
Um, let's see. First of all, mentoring is always great um, for me and for others. So I heard you speak about mentoring. So I need you to give me the question one more time because I was listening to you and I was thinking about when we first met, et cetera, et cetera. So give me the direct question again, please.
Well, it's more so just sharing a story. Like for me, the question more so is like, share a story that you were uncomfortable building a relationship, whether it was in networking, in business,
Mm.
in your personal life. But that was a story I
Um,
shared. And so share whatever you comes to mind.
okay, I've had many experiences building uncomfortable relationship because I've been around the work field for like 45 plus years. So in those instances, honestly, you don't want to do it. You don't care to do it. But in the essence of progression and networking and getting things done, you have to do it. So, what I've learned in my many, many years of experience is that you have to put aside your feelings, number one. You have to go for the greater good, number two. And then, even if the um, coordination is uncomfortable, I think we as professional individuals, we always rise to the occasion because it's really about the end game. And that's my comment on that one.
Okay, I'm connecting. I had to get back to the screen. So I love that because one of the things that I love what you said was we just have to do it. And one of the things that my mother always says is just like Nike, just do it. So it sounds simple, but it's not easy to do.
Exactly.
And I like I was trying to think in my mind, right? And I'm going to share this to our other platforms in a second because I realize it's not in our Facebook group. But I want to share this too about um, how we deal with those situations in those moments. Like for me, I remember that situation I was telling you. I didn't go as far as telling you what I did at the end. Like I was just telling y'all what happened while I was going through it in the beginning because I felt really uncomfortable. I was very young and still, learning a lot of things. And so I felt very overwhelmed too. Like, I think this is too much. Let me just not do that. Right. But it was necessary for me because the experience was it was just advantageous. I was in rooms with millionaires at that time. So it was
Mm-hmm.
just a bold move for me, but I was just scared. Right. So here's what happened. Um, and I remember his name was, Mr. Eddie Drake. I remember that man. Man, Mr. Drake, if you're listening to me today, I am so sorry. But what I did was I copped out. I ran away. I ran away from the opportunity and I just dropped it. Like I didn't call anymore. It was like a mentorship, right? It was something that was given to me through guidance of one of my professors. And I just took it for granted, y'all. Like I literally took it for granted. And so I remember thinking to myself, like, I've learned over time, like, okay, yeah, don't do that. Like you want to push through because you don't know what's at the end of that rainbow. But what I was realizing was I just gave into the pressure at that time because there was nothing else going on that was like, okay, you can't
Mm-hmm.
do it, you can't go, or like I had everything I needed. And I think I see a lot of that too, because that was one of my first times. I was just younger. But say, for example, some of us have never had to do that for our entire lives. I see TC came in the room. I'll let her up in a moment. But some of us have had to do that our entire lives. Like, I mean, it's kind of very uncomfortable when you now, whether you're starting a business, whether you're starting a new opportunity, whether you're just in a new phase in your life, that now you have to build new relationships. Now
Mm-hmm.
you have to, that's when networking really does like kind of teach you like how to really get
Mm-hmm.
involved. So while I get TC up here, feel free to share a situation where that end result for you was either good or bad. Because for me, I just shared the bad part. I'll share a good part in a second, but that was very life changing for me. It taught me a lot. But what about you?
Um, as I think over several uncomfortable situations such as that, um, for me, the end results was always satisfactory because I'm the kind of person where I can just walk away and leave it alone if it's not for me. And I think you have to know when to walk away. So you ran away. So maybe at that time it was necessary for you to run away. But I'll encourage my mentees, if you're in an uncomfortable situation and you do more damage when you try to deal with it or fit in with it when your whole body, your whole mind, your spirit is telling you that's not good for you at the moment or you shouldn't be doing it, etc. So I always use my gut feeling. If I'm in an uncomfortable situation, regardless of what it is, I will normally say, okay, is this worth it? If it is, then I will try to deal with it. If it's not worth it, I would just be blunt and say, hey guys, this is not for me. Because I think, as I said earlier, you do more harm when you're trying to fit in somewhere where you're not prepared. And I had this conversation. Matter of fact, just yesterday, a young man asked me to do a mock interview because he's trying to apply for this higher position. And his superiors, they all want him. They all want him to be able to pass the interview and get the job. So they called me and they said, hey, Miss Ernest, can you do a mock interview with him, and just do it like you were, interviewing a real person for a real job, and don't give him no slack and then, give him feedback. Well, when we came on, he was like, hey, Miss, I said, hey, I'm not your friend. I'm here to do an interview. I said, you were late. And he was like, oh, I said, the first rule of thumb is when you handle the interview, be early and be on time. So then I told him, I said, we have 10 questions and I'm going to go through the questions. You have 35 minutes. Each question, you have 2 minutes. That threw him right there. That just threw him right there. So he was definitely uncomfortable. And I don't know what he expected, but I gave him exactly what you're going to get when you apply for this job because I might be one of the people on the panel. So I gave it to him straight. And of course, he was bumbling and fumbling. And he had to say, I need to study more. I need to read more. And I said, yes, you do. So I think he knew within himself that he was not ready for an interview. Now, maybe, a couple of weeks down the line, he might be. So you have to know if it's for you. You have to know if you fit in. I mean, really, because to embarrass yourself or to walk away feeling even worse, I just say be bold. If it ain't for you, say, hey, this not working for me. It's been my pleasure. And you get on up.
I love your mentorship. If y'all don't know, Miss Ernest has been my mentor since like before I incorporated women into networking because I was like, listen, like I know I've been in business for a long time, but I have no clue what this thing is supposed to look like. And she has so much, experience in federal contracting, government grants, and working with small businesses. And I'm gonna tell you, you taught me a lot. Like you taught me a lot just by being you, but mainly just like listening to what you said just now. Like y'all, look, get the gems, because I'm like listening and I'm saying, that's what it is. It's like I really feel like looking back, I wish I would have stood up for myself, right? Like making that decision and saying like, okay, if this really for me, like I'm gonna give it my all. If it's not, I need to like just kind of walk away. And that takes a lot of
Mhm.
maturity and wisdom. And so I think we grow through that. And I'm able to be around people like in community. Miss Ernie, she'll give you, it'll rub off on you a little bit. But thank you for that. And I want to also invite Orinthia up. She just came to the round table. Hello, Queen. How are
You
you?
know, I'm so good. I was just messaging Allegro and I was like, let me just check my calendar really quick. And I saw that I was a little bit late for the round table, but I guess, I walked in on the gems with Miss Arnice. I had no choice but to sit back and just listen. So I feel like I'm right where I need to be right now.
Yes, sis. We have been just starting from the ground up. Had this conversation about healthy relationships. We know how important that is in any situation. I just think because we just had the conversation in our networking room yesterday on Clubhouse, I wanted to continue the vibe and talk about how we really like look at our challenges. How do we really deal with those things, and how do we look at them? How do we reflect on them? I reflected on mine. I gave a little bit of vulnerability here because I'm like, listen, I called out Mr. Drake's name. He might look at this live and be like, child, I remember you. You the one that just dipped out, didn't say nothing, didn't call nobody, just like whoop. And for me, it was at that time, I think I was stressed. I think I was like working two jobs in school. Like it was a lot going on. And so we do have to give ourselves grace for where we are, but I also learned from that. Like, and that's also what I wanted to pull out. And listening to you, Miss Ernest, and saying, like, hey, listen, like these are some lessons that we can really pull from. I'm sure someone listening right now can benefit from that. I want to hear from Orinthia about it too. What did you experience? Any challenges? Doesn't have to be just community because we know it's a lot. In building healthy relationships, what challenges have you had with that?
Well, first off, thank you for having me. I love the Women into Networking community. I found myself earlier today just thinking about where do I see myself going for the rest of this year, and community was a huge thing that came up to me. So just making sure I'm in connection with the right people in the right places, and also like supporting, making sure I'm putting my support into the right places as well, because people don't realize, but support is a superpower. Everybody can't do it. So putting my support in the right places. So for me, it is gonna have a little bit to do with community. I find myself, because of a lot of the relationships that I've had, um, being in business for 15 years, and just overall, uh, y'all, I'm only 35, okay? So I don't have all the wisdom in the world, but the wisdom that I do have, the relationships that I had before, I've realized that I have to be I can't walk into relationships expecting people to have the same discernment or the same way of moving as I do. Um, I'm very passionate about what I do in my business. So I'm gonna figure out any way that I can support you or any way that we can make this thing work. Like, not making it work is not an option for me. So, but other people are not like that. So I can't expect other people to be that way and then get upset when they're not that way, right? And I used to have a huge issue with that, because if I have, um, if I'm married, if I have children, if I have a team I'm supporting, if I have clients I'm supporting, and then I'm saying, despite all of that, I still want to come over here and support you. I'm ultimately saying I have the bandwidth to do more. So I'm gonna need you to come with it. And sometimes I would get upset in the past because I wouldn't see that from other people. And what I've noticed is I didn't really help them understand where I'm coming from. And I don't know where they're coming from. I just jumped in full force, ready to go. And that's not how everyone works. But my thought process now and how I move into projects or partnerships or even community overall is to just kind of educate people more on how I like to go about doing things, and not really get upset or judge if someone can't meet me where I am. I just try to meet people where they are. instead of getting frustrated at what's not being done. What can I support here? What can I control here? And focus on that. Because I find that when you get all ruffled up in everybody else's feathers, your feathers get ruffled now. And now you just upset. Nobody want to be upset. We want to be here. We want to come together. We want to do what we got to do. We want to support each other. And we want to just, live our best life. But I find like just knowing how to communicate more with people who you're just meeting, just coming into community with, just connecting with for the first time, right? And being open to learn where they're coming from and what are their like learning capabilities and what are their best methods of working with each other, because everybody don't work the same. Everybody doesn't communicate the same, but being open to learn those strategies from other people, I find brings us all on the same page and allows us to create grace for those who can't do it like we can, or grace for those who can do it even better than we can sometimes. So that's my 2 cents. Hey, TC, my sister in
That was
tech.
a pot of gold, sis. I am like, what? Um, man, so much to be said. Thank you for that lesson. It's like a little mini masterclass. So I hope y'all wrote that down. But this is one thing I love. You were talking about just really teaching people how to treat you. And one thing you said, like, I think y'all can kind of, we can go around the table with this. I feel like I've fallen victim to this so many times in my life where I'm just like, I want to help you. I want to help you. I want to help you. Like, listen, I'm the helper, like the helper extraordinaire. And it comes to a point where you're just like, I'm all helped out. So I ain't got no more help to give. And when you get to that point of exhaustion in your life and you're just like, now you need someone to be there for you, and you did not do the right work to build those relationships, to have the right people around you, that's where it hits hard. Because I've been there and I'm like, wait a minute. So this whole time, I've been messing with these people and I need to be messing with dumb people. And it's nothing personal. I just think it's a matter of knowing what your trajectory in life is. Miss Ernest brings the wisdom. So I'm not going to act like I know it all here, but I just will say that for me, y'all listen, because we both Aries over here. So I just feel like she'll resonate with me. For me, I don't play that with my relationships. Like, it's going to take a lot to get up in this door because it's a lot of value there. And I think we have to be protective of our relationships and who we allow into our space. But that's a whole nother conversation. I'm gonna go around about that. But before we do that, TC, welcome. I want to hear, who are you and what do you think about challenges that you've had in building relationships? Have you experienced any? Tell us a story.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Happy July 4th. I know that's like coming soon. But okay, so I think it's been a long journey for me when it comes down to building relationships. And I always say that relationships are two-sided. The only way for you to be successful in any relationship that you find yourself in, it doesn't really matter what kind of relationship it is. It's not one way, it's two-sided. So it's either we are both in, or we're both in, right? It's not I'm in, you're out, right? So that's how I see relationships. For me, I've not really had, I think it's been like the two sides of experiences for me, but the negative parts, the challenges, and also the positive part. And starting with my business, when we talk about business relationships, I would say that personally, I know that I have made tons of mistakes. Now, tons of mistakes I say in terms of um, in terms of discerning people's actions, and in terms of understanding that everybody would not think like me. Everybody would not see the vision like I do. Everyone obviously doesn't have the same intentions. The motives are not all alike, right? Like we might both be sitting down here smiling, but the truth is our motives are basically very different. And so I know that starting and going into my business, I have made that particular mistake a lot, thinking that everybody has the same motive, thinking that everybody, like we say, sometimes you come together and you be like, oh, let's do this together, right? And in your head, you're thinking, okay, because we decided that we're going to do it together, you just assume that the next person is going to pull along with you. But the truth still remains that, I've realized that at every single stage, I need to go back to be sure that we're all in the same mindset. We are all thinking alike. We are all on the same line. Because sometimes it's not always the way we think it is. And so I would say I had a very huge part in the mistake because this is just me assuming, but I also learned that it is okay to always check in to see where the other person is as regards to intention, motive, and also what I didn't learn it. I think I just decided to hone into that side of me better. um when I'm confused about something, or I think that, I don't really get it, I call you up and I ask you straight up. So there's no point me trying to beat around the bush and try to figure out what as no, no, you know what? I just go to you. Now, if it doesn't sound right to you, which I'm not perfect, and I don't expect anybody else to see me as perfect. So if I come to you and I be like, okay, this is how I feel. Now, this is how I feel doesn't mean it's right, okay? But I need to tell you how I feel or what I think I feel so that we are on the same page. Now, it's not because maybe maybe I have second thoughts, but it's just so that we are both in the same energy, in the whole same mind space, right? So those are like few things that I have started to put in, which have literally helped me navigate through that whole space where you have a bunch of people going with you in a particular space, but you're all thinking in a different direction. So that way, even if you're just two, with the same vision, with the same motive, with the same intention, it's better that we are 1,000 and we all have diverted, motives and intentions. So I think that for me, that's where, my status of relationship building is right now. Checking in every now and then. And I also realized that um the people that are in the same space that I am in appreciate it. Some people would say, "Oh, TC, you joke a lot," but I'm not joking. I'm actually serious. When it might sound like I'm joking, but I'm serious. Because it's important to me that when I'm in a relationship with you, client relationship, whatever relationship, we both need to be in the relationship, right? I'm not going to be in a relationship all by myself. So I think that's where I am at the moment. And before I pass the mic to you, right, Allegra, I know that most times we want to assume, especially when it comes down to business, we want to assume that um, it's all going to be profitable as regards to as regards to clients, as regards to money. But one thing I've realized about the business relationships as well is the fact that there's so much more you can achieve, there's so much more you can gain from a relationship aside from, oh, I want to get clients, right? I mean, clients is relative, I know the referrals, I know the connections I've actually gotten just by, knowing somebody's name, just by having somebody's number, So yeah, I wanted to say that.
Thank you for sharing that, TC. We got the tech queens in here. I think it's really important for us, and I want to hear from Miss Anissa about this too, because I feel like we all resonate with the whole like having the boundaries out there to know like where people can kind of enter our space or not, and just being responsible that if anyone stepped on our toes, it's because we allowed it. I think it's just a maturity, it's a mature conversation to have. Um, Before our comment, and TC, thank you for that because that was amazing. It's so much to be said. But I'm going to let Miss Ernest take the mic real quick because I want her to share before we lose this part of the conversation on, that, like, have you also felt that way? Like, where, people have crossed those boundaries with you in relationships and you had to be like, pump the brakes real quick.
Well, for me, of course. And I have this thing, and I say it often. Maybe you guys heard it, maybe not. But I'm going to say it again. It's called shift page down delete. Shift page down delete. And maybe I will do a blog about that. This is what shift page down delete is. Sometimes you have to do an assessment of what you're doing. And I learned that 30 years ago in my government career because I realized one time I went on vacation and I came back and I had like 200 emails. And I was like, this is insane. I'm never going to answer all these people. So I did a shift page down delete. I really did because I'm a bold person. I try stuff. I mean, what you going to do, right? So I did a shift page down delete, guys. And I can truly tell you, I don't think anyone came back and said, hey, Miss Arnese, I sent you an email asking about this because, first of all, I think people just want to get it off their back and they want to slide it somewhere else, right? And if you're that accepting person like I used to be, and even now I've changed my ways because I realized that there are some individuals in this world that are takers and not givers. And as TC said, it's a team effort. If you don't have a team effort and you constantly giving. So when I do shift page down delete like I did before, and I realized that nobody really got excited or said, hey, you missed the deadline or whatever. So I just did shift page down delete on all of my Gmail accounts because it was just like more, they were just coming, right? And I just did this last week. And I said, you know what? I'm going to move everything to the left. I didn't delete it all, but I moved it to the left and I put a date. I put June 26th. And I think I had to go over there one time to find something. And it was the W.I.N conference email that had the codes in it. And I sat there and thought about this and I said, this is really crazy. The world is crazy. It will drive you crazy. And you have to have a moment of sitting by the ocean, listening to the waves. You don't have to physically be there, but mentally. Sometimes you got to pull yourself away. You have to sit in your mind at the ocean. And my metaphor is this. I sit on the porch at an ocean and I'm hearing the waves. And I might have a glass of wine, or I might not. I might just smell the air. I might get on my bicycle, and I don't even have a dog, but I might have a little doggy in my basket and ride down to the general store. I mean, think about what I'm saying. You have to learn when individuals are helping you or when individuals are just sucking off of you. And that's important for me. So I believe, you guys that are on, this meeting and those that will be listening to what we're talking about, you have to take time and evaluate who's in your circle. And not only what are you doing for these individuals, but what are they doing for you? And I had a very eye-opening experience. And y'all know I talk about my life because I'm not an open book, but I'm a truth book. There's a difference. I did my income tax this year. And every year I have to pay whatever, because I'm just right? But then I realized I had to adjust that as well. So I did my income tax this year. My tax lady called me and she said, Miss Hernice, and she said, do you realize that you have given over, listen to me well, $15,000? I said, what? And she said, I'm looking at your receipts. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at that. She said, some are deductible, some you just like gave. And I said, you're right. And I said, that madness stops today. That could have been my 550 Mercedes down payment, you know? So I learned just this year, and I'm 67. I learned that I need to stop the madness. I need to start strategically planning and investing in things that's going to give me residual income. TC learned that from you a year and a half ago. Okay. When I met TC, she was talking about it. You know, you have to learn how to do residual income, you know, and stuff like that. I mean, just to give, and you're not getting return. I mean, think about that, ladies. Think about that. I mean, sometimes you got to stop. So, to bring this to a close, Miss Ernest has stopped. You know, I'm still a giver. I still like people, but I'm a more strategic type of individual since I had to do them taxes. Okay, because I don't work to give on the same amount of money. And when you give, you have to make sure you give into the cause that's going to give back to you. So if you give into a nonprofit, it's going to give back to you. But if you give into the home girl and she ain't giving back to you, then guess what? You can't write that off. Hello, over.
I'm cracking up. I could not with Miss Ernest, y'all. She said boundaries up.
You said what she said, okay?
Oh God. Yo, like if we were at a physical, like literal round table right now, I don't even know what would be happening. Like I'd be dying laughing. The energy is fire. So thank you so much, Miss Ernest. I appreciate that. And it's so true. And I mean, I'm always learning, y'all. So it's just teaching me. Learning never stops. Like, don't matter. Like, just keep understanding that. And that keeps you humble too. Like it kind of makes you immediately humble. But I don't want to elongate that. I do want to go back to something that TC was talking about too. Oh, and Miss Ernest, something that you said about being able to escape in your mind. I just want to kind of touch on that a little bit. So I'm going to divert here because that I feel like is really powerful because a lot of times when I'm working with women and, especially moms and things like that, like we have a lot on our minds. Like we have a lot of things going on all the time. There's overwhelm. And if we don't have space to think and to like have that time for ourselves, like that's detrimental. I want to hear a little bit about that from Arinthia and TC because both of y'all are moms. And, I think having those good relationships with people that keep your brain free of like overwhelm. I don't know what that looks like. For me, it looks like people calling me all the time with their problems or, just holding up my calendar for a reason. But go ahead, Arinthia. She unmuted super.
I was gonna say, Rachel Rogers calls it mental garbage. I love me some Rachel Rogers, but I have positive triggers and I also have natural triggers that I know. Okay, I'm going in frustration mode, and let me rewind this. Y'all, I got a house full of kids right now. Okay, so if you hear the background noise, that's the kids. Um, so I noticed this a couple of years ago about myself that I didn't know enough about myself in a way that I would continuously be interacting with clients, maybe associates, even friends and family members. And I still felt like I didn't have control over like my interactions in a way that I should as an adult woman. Okay. I still felt like when I had certain conversations with certain people that I did not have control over my emotions. What that told me is I needed to do a lot more self-discovery. I needed to figure out who I was. 5 years ago, I decided to go on a self-discovery journey, and I learned so much about how I show up, how my energy is, the people who I would be in connection with, who are good partners, clients for me, even friendship wise, who would be really good for me. And because I decided to go on that journey, I learned so much about myself and I find myself in better relationships because of this. I also know my triggers and I know when I'm starting to feel triggered, how to move away from it in a way that's going to be positive. So I've created a list of positive triggers for myself, similar to like what Miss Ernest talked about. But if I find myself getting frustrated throughout the day, or something has happened in which I start to have this inkling, for me, it always start right here. Like, ooh, something don't feel right. I need to hit my positive triggers. So I have audiobooks. These audiobooks immediately take me out of reality. I'm all of a sudden I'm on a journey. I like Afrofuturism. I listen to these books on Audible all the time. Of course, I have my Rachel Rogers that I have to listen to because she'll get you correct real quick. Why are you feeling like this? No, we're supposed to be fighting the power. You're not going to sit down today and get upset. No, that's not what you do. So I put my list of positive triggers on and I just take myself out of that moment. And I realized that we're like in a place where there's so much expansion, but we get stuck in this one little moment, in this one little second that someone might have said something to us, or some situation might seem so overwhelming that it's taking us out of ourselves and now we feel stuck in it. So positive triggers, though. Figure out a way to create a list of all the things that you like. That way, if anything comes up, you're feeling triggered, you know exactly where to go. For me, that's what I do. I also liked what Mr. Ernest talked about with visualization. I find myself doing that a lot with meditation. I'm up at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's summertime. The kids like to sleep till 9. That means I got 4 hours to myself. I can do whatever I want. That's amazing to me. Okay, so I'm up at 5 every day, self care, sitting down, crushing all the work I need to crush in advance, and then I'm ready to go. By the time the kids get up, their routine is ready, and I feel empowered to crush my day even more. Right? Um, and I think the last one that you said control shift delete, Miss Ernie. Okay, I'm going to be implementing that because I do find that people do just try to figure out a way to just get it out there. And they will, I also heard another mentor say that besides you, Miss Ernest. They'll go through every day, they'll press control shift delete on everything. If it's important, they'll come back. That's exactly what they say. So I'm gonna be implementing that. I'm gonna be implementing that. And that was me, y'all. I'm gonna hand it to
I'm
you.
glad you shared all that. What'd you say? I'm sorry. I think I cut you off.
No, I was gonna say I'm gonna hand this to you, TC. You got this.
I don't know if TC heard you right. TC, are you
Can you hear
there?
me?
Oh, yeah, I'm here, but did you say something to me?
Yeah,
Well,
I
Orinthia,
handed
there's
it to
a
you.
mic issue. It hit you on your forehead. You didn't even know.
Okay, so I'm here. Okay, I'm here. I actually thought you were passing the mic to Allegra, but I'm here. Okay, I thought I heard Allegra, but I'm here. What's the question?
No, so I'll reset because listen, it was a lot that Orinthia was sharing, and I love the fact that you went on a self healing journey. Like, I first of all, shout out to momming because to have the mental capacity to even like be in the space where you have kids in the background and people talking and TV, you got to be able to like compartmentalize in your mind. And so I think it's really good to have healthy relationships with people so that you can reserve whatever little bit you got left, for you and not for someone else is going to take that energy away. But I think that was genius, Arinthia, how you just shared a lot of what you went through. So thank you for that. Prime
Mm-hmm.
example in real life, y'all. And TC, I wanted you to share similar, to how you as a mom, kind of create that mental space for yourself. Miss Ernie shared earlier how you have to have time where your mind is going to like an escape of some kind, right? Like you may not be on the beach physically, but in your mind, you're there. And I was asking Arinthia, and I'll ask you too, how do you do that? Like with, the relationships you have. Like, if you need that type of mental capacity, you can't have a lot of extra stuff going on. So how
Mhm.
have you managed that for yourself?
Okay, so I'm going to use an example. I had a client that reached out to me. So, I always say that, y'all don't come meet me saying, oh, coach. No, not the coach. And so she sent me a message and said, TC, I just want to ask you a question. Allegra is laughing. TC, I just want to ask you a question. And I'm like, okay, okay. So am I supposed to go like, StreamYard or what? How is the question? Is it going to be like a live? Is it an interview or something? And she's like, "Oh, I just want to ask you a few questions." But I didn't think too hard about the questions she wanted to ask me, anyways. And so we finally got on a call, and she's like, um, how do you run your life? Like it feels like you just have everything in control. Like how are you able to do it? Even when you say, oh, things something bad happened, like it doesn't show. And I said, well, to your point, Allegra, these things don't come. It's not like it's natural. You just need to, I feel for me personally, I had to learn it, over time. Because, see, the truth is, if you don't, you will just go insane. I don't know how else anybody else is going to do it because it's just going to be everywhere, And imagine I have like the boys, my husband, this, in-laws are still there as well because not everybody has dramatic in-laws. But you see, there's some people that do. And then coming from like me, where I'm coming from, we're very big on extended family, and that can be very dramatic, right? And so you then have business. So the mix of your personal relationships and your business relationships can just get you into that whole different space that you forget that everyone is just going to be fine as long as you're fine. Now, personally, I think I have learned to just filter my emotions, filter the energy. Like literally, I could be with you right now, but trust me, even if you talk from now to tomorrow, it's what I want to hear, I would hear. I choose to hear what I want to hear. I choose to accept what I want to accept. I choose to perceive what I want to perceive. I choose to, because then I realized that now this didn't just happen because it is me. I had to learn it over time because then I realized that that's the only way I can survive. I can survive the life that I want for myself. And also, that part where I think I was in a live. One of the twins came in. I didn't realize that the door was my office door was open and the door before my office door was open. And so they just bashed in. It was the second one he bashed in. And just when I was trying to like, get myself arranged, he's just there. He took my other phone because he was trying to get my attention. I don't know what he did. He slipped, he fell, my phone broke, and all of this was happening, and I was live, I, in my head, I just said to myself, TC, it's just a matter of 15 minutes. Just do what you need to do. And I just spoke to myself, right? And I said to myself, I'm in control of the situation. Now, my son is going to be who he is, right? I'm not going to, like, there's so much I can do, right? I can only be in control of what I am in control of. Anything I'm not in control of, I can't kill myself, right? And so at that particular time, I just said to myself, "What do you do?" Because I was live, and I was in the middle of a very heated like very good conversation. I just had to sort him out. Obviously, the front was messy. I'm sure you all cannot see it, And I did what I had to do. I gave him what he wanted, and then he left, right? And so when I was done, but I was so upset. I was so disturbed. But then I had to do what I had to have to do, right? I had to do what I had to do. Now that's personal, my son. Now, when it comes down to other relationships, personally, I have learned to say no and say no with my full chest. You know, like that part where you say no, and it's like no, 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 with the very long no. So that you don't think that the no has a background or backdrop of yes beneath it. No, right? And so, if I have certain things that I need to do, I just need to let you know this is what it is. Now, if I can still show up for the other thing, I would. But you see, I've also realized that when it comes down to relationships, I am the most important element in the relationship, right? And so if I don't try to stay in control of what is around me, my emotions, it's going to find a way of affecting every other person, every other thing around me. So I would say for me, it's first filtering my emotions, filtering the kind of energy that I accept myself, and also understanding that you know, and also understanding that my kids, my family, my friends, my acquaintances, my clients have their individual roles. But you see, the most important role and the most important element is me. And so I feel like every time I remember, I remind myself of that. It just helps me. Now, I know I said this earlier, but I repeat myself. These things are not magical. It's not magic. And you don't just, or rather, personally, I didn't just wake up trying to figure all of these things out. You make a mistake, you learn from it, you grow, you hear, you fill your mind with positive thoughts. You fill your mind with, positive energy. Already I was talking about like the audio, um, talks and all of that. It's very important because what your mind feeds on as well, is defines a larger part of who you are. Okay, so if you keep filling your mind with things that are not meant to, you will eventually find a way of forgetting who you are. So yeah, that part.
Man, that was so juicy. All right. Unfortunately, we do have to end this live, y'all. We can't be here all day. I'm respectful of the time, but I do want to make sure that everyone shares, final words. TC, you said so many things that were just, I think they were gems dropped. And real quick, for like that whole saying no with your full chest, honey, I busted out laughing. Y'all couldn't hear me, but I was back for cracking up. And I love the fact that you're talking about just filling your mind up with positivity, because like attracts like. And if we're doing these things already, like we're going to attract those people that are doing that same thing, right? And Miss Bernice could shift page down, delete. Um, Baby, listen, if you ain't pulled nothing away from today's roundtable, that part for me. Thank you for that, and always reminding us of what's important. And Orinthia, just making sure that we choose our friends wisely and pick our challenges well. Go through that self-love journey, and just keep learning. I love that humbleness. And Orinthia, sometimes when you talk, you give off this like peaceful vibe, right? And TC gives off this like, listen, I'm gonna knock you out if you don't get it done.
No, that's what
But
it is. That's what it is. TC's. I'm not your coach. I'm here to put stuff
wait,
together.
listen.
Don't get it confused. Okay.
But I feel like I've built some great relationships with you guys, and I want to say that listen, it ain't always the cover that you're looking at. Okay, these women have so many layers, and so get to know people. Because as I'm listening to y'all, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm sure people got all kind of ideas, right? But this is why we come here and we let you know a little bit more about us. Miss Ernest, can you just end us off with your final words first?
My final words is I could have had them 15,000 in my bank account. How about that? Over.
She ain't gonna let that die. Listen, and she said, y'all owe her. Y'all owe her. And thank you, Miss Ernest. I want to shout you out real quick because Miss Ernest will be at the conference this year. We have not done our live stream to talk about what she's going to be presenting, but we will be putting that in the schedule. So stay tuned, because she has so many things happening, from, her podcast interview that she has is going to be launching, and want to make sure that you listen to that when it comes live. And also making sure that you see her in person, because this is the thing. I get to meet Miss Ernice, Miss Arinthia in person here at our Atlanta meetups. And if you're not able to do that as often as we do, then you need to go ahead and schedule yourself accordingly. All right. And get here in September.
So I
Arinthia,
want to jump in here real quick and say this,
oh,
right?
go ahead.
Since we promoted women in networking, we need to do the pyramid thing. We send something to somebody, send it to somebody, because it's going to be an amazing time. It's nothing like seeing all these beautiful women together in person, live, with the energy flowing, the conversations going on, the breakout rooms. So, I implore all of you to come, and see all of us in our beauty and our glory and in our intelligence. Over.
Thank you, Miss Ernice. Listen, and I'm telling y'all, she comes fashionable, like she comes in the right outfits. It's so amazing to just see her, um, just who she is. All right, so y'all got to be there. She's going to be our keynote speaker as well, so you want to get to hear more about her expertise. Arinthia, listen, sis, MetaConnects is in the house, and I just want to say, Arinthia will be at the conference. Okay. She's our ATL leader. Go ahead, give us your final words.
Well, first off, thank you for that amazing introduction. Y'all, Women into Networking is doing so many amazing things. When I first joined Women into Networking, I didn't really grasp everything that Allegra was trying to create. But as we've been growing this thing, I've been just like in awe of how she just. Allegra is like, she's a force to be reckoned with. Okay, if you didn't know, now I'm gonna tell you. Okay, if even if she didn't have a team, she would be all over Atlanta, making sure everyone knows exactly what they need to know about this community, because that's how she gets down. Everywhere we go, she tells everyone, which is amazing. It just gives you so much belief and empowerment about the message that we have here at Women into Networking. But this conference is going to be game changing. So you want to be in the building, because the women that are going to be there, and then also the men that support us as well. Everyone is going to be there. You want to be there, whether it's in a vending, capacity. Bring your business, set up so people can see what you have to offer, and you can showcase yourself. Right? If that is something you're having a problem with, Women into Networking wants to help you showcase your business. So we have vending positions. We still have sponsor positions. If you're interested in being a sponsor, you maybe can't come, but you want to sponsor the event, we have those positions. You can also be a speaker. We're looking for amazing speakers as well. The spots might be almost gone. I'm just trying to let you know what's still available. Okay, Allegra just told you there's a little bit left. Okay. But overall, if you can't do any of those other things, please come and attend, because just being in the space and in the place with all of that amazing energy, all of these great women, the gems that are going to be dropped, the potential partnerships that you can make, the just essence of community that you can come and build. It's just going to be amazing. So hop into the Women into Networking. Purchase your ticket if you haven't already. Allegra will be dropping the link. We'll be dropping the link, right? Somewhere around here. Allegra will be dropping the link. And just, be the first in line, because you don't want to be the last. Okay? Be the first in line. All right, y'all. I'm your girl, Esarinthia. I'm the founder of MetaConnects business automation platform, where we help businesses automate, systemize, and then create freedom in your life. We love what we do here. Connect with me if you want to learn more about how you can implement systems in your business, create freedom for yourself. And I'm going to hand this over to TC. You got this, TC? Throw it back to you, girl.
Yes, I do. And just piggyback from literally just taking it away from you. Um, I feel like it's very important that you have a community that supports you. Now, that's my opinion. And but that's something you want to, as much as possible, take advantage of. Because you see, when it comes down to business, you can't do it alone. Now that's the truth. You can't do it alone. Even if you think, you have all the superpowers, right? Growth cannot be, I put a quote in my group and I said, growth cannot be established in isolation, right? And that's the truth. Because I have seen that, I have experienced that, and it's important that you know. Now, you want to surround yourself with people who are happy to support you. Okay, that's the truth. You want to be a part of people that want to genuinely support you, and I feel like that's what the Win community is. And the good part is that we want to call you out. We want to not call you out in a good way. We want to let the world see what you have, because whatever you have is valid. Okay. And that's why you need to be in the conference. I'm going to say this, right? Because a lot of people have been, every time. So I put like the conference every weekend on my stories, and I have people like, TC, you coming? And I'm like, yo, literally, I'm gonna be there in spirit. But let's just keep our hands, you never know. But the truth is, I'm there, I'm not there. I know that I will be greatly represented. And that's what it basically means to be in a community, right? But you want to be a part of it. If you can make it, please do. If you can't, you can as well sponsor somebody to be there. Okay? You can sponsor somebody to be there. I feel like that's another thing that we do not understand. When you want to see that transformation, when you want to create that value, when you want to impact in life. Sometimes it's not really about you just being there. You can sponsor somebody, you can sponsor the event, you still get to be a part of it, right? But most importantly, show up. Find out how you can be a part of the event. Sorry, Arenta just mentioned the speaker space, but I think I went to the website. The slots will be like closing out really soon, because from what I hear, like it's being rushed like no man's business. So if you want to be a speaker, you want to literally take advantage of this. Yeah, that is for the conference, because I know that it's packed full. Like Allegra is cooking up really good stuff. There's this part that I wish. No, I just imagine myself in Atlanta, but you all are going to represent me, I'm sure. So you want to be, Allegra's laughing, but you want to be a part of it, okay? That's very important. You really want to be a part of it. If it's not going to be beneficial to you, I would not be promoting it, right? If you go to my stories every Sunday, that's literally every weekend, basically, that's what is there, because I know how valuable it is to have a community that trusts you, a community that you can trust as well, to support you in your entrepreneurial journey. Okay. Now, that being said, my name is TC. If you're wondering, I'm a systems implementation strategist, and I love to tell you that I love to help you get the work done, because it's one thing to know all of the strategies and another thing to do the work. Okay, so if you are looking for support in activating proven systems that work, you want to craft out those sellable offers, and you want to set up simple automation that simplifies your business, let's get to work, okay? Let's make the next 6 months, or rather the rest of the 6 months in 2024 worth it. That's it. Thank you so much, Allegra.
I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Please make sure that y'all follow our speakers today at the roundtable. Each and every one of them are just an integral part of our WIN community. I just want to do a quick shout out, because I almost forgot about this, y'all. Shout out to Sandy. She is the district manager at Coca-Cola. They are sponsoring us for the conference. So I just want to thank her so much for just, being able to give us the opportunity to get those Coca-Cola spice bottles. So when you come to the conference, you'll see those in your bougie bags. And then also Broadway Diner, thank you for being a venue sponsor when it comes down to our ads and promotions. And So I just want to make sure that, you all take a look, because we will be updating that landing page to, see all the new speakers and the updates. We do have a lot of things that are happening on the back end. So make sure you reach out. We are a community. So we always want to make sure that you see that there is an open door here. And we always welcome strangers. And we'll see a lot of y'all at the conference. So thank you so much. We love you, and y'all have an amazing day. Bye, ladies. Thank you, queens.